I have been an Apple TV user for 12 years now, since 2013, and I gotta say, this little box that I have used every day now has been the best investment I think I have ever made to date. And let's talk about if it's actually worth the investment or not. So my journey with the Apple TV actually started back in 2013 with the third generation Apple TV. This was probably my first experience into the Apple TV world, as I've never really saw or used one before, and Apple TV, it just worked. You were able to mirror from your iPhone, you had the apps you needed, and that was really it. Now, the third generation Apple TV is definitely laid the groundwork for what we have today with the latest generation, but it's actually very interesting now looking back because you had no app store, you had YouTube, and or whatever apps Apple felt the need to preload, and the only way you would get new ones were with software updates, and it was just an okay experience. Then in 2014, Apple released the Apple TV 4th generation, also known as the Apple TV HD. Now, when I saw that this was announced, I knew immediately this little box here would change the way I interact with my TV, and it has. I've had this one since 2014, and it's still going strong in 2025. There's no issues with it. I have absolutely no complaints about it, although I did recently upgrade to the latest Apple TV 4K. There's no real reason behind the fact. We were adding one to another room, and I said it doesn't get used as often as the one in my bedroom does. Let me take the newer one, and then this 10-year-old one can go down there. Now, this Apple TV 4th generation from 2014 has iPhone 6 hardware in there. It has the A8 chip, and this came out along the iPhone 6 or 6S, I believe, so it either was with the A8 chip or the A9 chip, and I gotta say, by 2025 standards, the A8 chip has held up amazingly. And yes, this is still supported by tvOS 18, which is the latest version, and I wouldn't even be surprised if next month Apple says, hey, it gets tvOS 19 as well. Now, this Apple TV has a far superior remote than the current one we have, and that was the first generation Siri remote, which was just such a better experience in my opinion. The only thing I really like about the new one is the fact that it has the power on and off button, but hey, you can just use Siri to do that, and other than that, you really have no issues. The current model is the Apple TV 4K, and it comes in two storage sizes, 64 or 128. This is an improvement from what we used to see, which was 32 and 64, although believe me, the 64 gig is plenty enough. I honestly have probably nowhere near filled this thing up, and I have every streaming service on it. So it starts at $129 for that 64 gigs and $150 for the 128 gigs. The 128 gig does also support Ethernet and Thread connectivity, whereas the 64 gig does not. So that is something to keep in mind if you would like those features. Now, this Apple TV 4K, it's the same experience I'm used to, but it was faster, it was snappier, and it just works. Now, I actually even have this one set up because it's smaller. I have it hung and wrapped around my TV mount just so you don't see it, as you can see here. And every time I take a look behind my TV, I find it so funny because I like how there are no wires or anything, and then you look behind it and it's just a mess. Now, Apple did shrink the form factor a little bit, so if you take a look here, you can actually see that the newer box is lighter and smaller and thinner. So that's a nice improvement. Now, the Apple TV is on the more expensive side when you compare it to your other options, like a natively built smart TV, which you might already have, or a Fire Stick, or a Roku stick, or something stick, pretty much. Now, I'd like to think that Apple kind of created its own space back in 2014 when they launched this new version, and I truly don't think we'll ever see a stick or something like that, as much as I personally would love that. And if you're deep in the Apple ecosystem, you probably don't care. You probably either A, already have one, or B, are considering buying one if you're here. But the integration with AirPlay and iCloud and making it just work as Apple loves to do is the best. If you want to go ahead and type something, you get a notification on your iPhone and Apple Watch saying, would you like to type? If you forget your remote, you can use your iPhone's remote. If you misplace the remote, you can use your iPhone to locate the remote. You can do a lot just from your iPhone. You want to download something? Face ID. You want to color match it? Your iPhone's True Depth camera. You can do a lot from this. And if you have AirPlay or your iCloud Photos plus HomeKit and Apple Fitness Plus, this is a no-brainer. It can do it all. Now, the reason I still use an Apple TV all these years later now, and I'm now on my third Apple TV, is because the experience doesn't suck. Traditional smart TVs and other Fire Sticks and Roku sticks and other companies that I have used for smart TVs, they just aren't the greatest experience. Apple knows what they're doing, it seems, and Apple has been able to hold me as a customer for 12 years now on the Apple TV. And hey, I don't think that's going to change anytime soon because it just works. The smart TV interface doesn't randomly crash or quit or kick me out or make me log in after 2 days when I didn't use it. It just works. Everything's paired nicely, and hey, it syncs to my iCloud, so if I get a new one or sign in on another device, it can just load everything right in without me having to really think about it. You can also autofill passwords from your iPhones, and I know we finally have started to move past that with being able to open the app or log in using a QR code, but being able to just swipe into that notification, you need to enter your passcode and then just autofill with my Face ID because everything's stored in my Passwords app is such an amazing experience. Now, if you already have a good smart TV, it might not be worth the investment. I will say that. I know newer smart TVs have gotten much better than what we currently had back in 2014, but if you're on the fence about it, or if you have an older smart TV that no longer supports some apps, this might be a great investment for you. And hey, I'm going to keep using it. I have one. There's one in every room in my house, and everyone loves them. There's no real complaints. It's the same experience across all of them. And if you're logged in on multiple TVs, you can even make sure they all have the same layout. And it's one of the Apple products that I only upgraded out of convenience, not because of planned obsolescence or just because it didn't work. It just happened that we were replacing one, and I said, hey, I'll take the new one. But let me know your thoughts about the Apple TV. If you have one, if you've been on the fence about it, because Apple could definitely do more, but right now they don't need to. So let me know with a comment down below, and while you're down there, if you want to hit like and subscribe, I'd appreciate that as well. And I want you to remember that today is a good day to make a great day, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.